So one of my clients, Mikkel Heimberger, sent me a project that a couple of his friends were working on, and they really liked some mastering I'd done for them and for Mikkel, and so they recommended me to another client. I really didn't know anything about it. I got the music. It sounded really interesting. There were interesting string sounds that I couldn't quite identify the instrument, but I wasn't thinking too much about it because I was approaching it from a mastering perspective and sort of listening to the whole and trying to get the balance. I had just gotten the new Rubicon, and so I thought, okay, let's try it. Let's try the A to D, and I'll try it on this. And plugged in the A to D and started listening to it. It had this super big sound. It was accurate, but it somehow made everything sound bigger. So the end result was sort of a recording that it wasn't true. It was very true, but it was as if it was printed larger. So this larger than life sort of sound just really lent itself well to the material because the instruments were so big and the drums were so big. So I think I ran it through 7 times trying to find the right balance, gain staging the A to D at the right levels. The artist and the producer were really, really excited. They were really happy. The name came back and it sounded familiar, William Close. So I just happened to Google it and looked it up and saw his video. And I'll never forget that night when I saw who it was and I saw his performance, basically his audition for America's Got Talent. I was completely floored, completely blown away. I almost got chills, or maybe I did get chills. I just thought this is an amazing performance, and suddenly it all made sense. What the instrument was, why it sounded the way it did, and the project for me took on a new meaning at that time because I thought, I really want to nail this because we have a new artist with a new instrument and a brand new A to D converter with an atomic clock built in. It was just this stories like that just don't happen. It was too good to be true. When we got done, everyone was really pleased, and that wasn't enough. I printed not only the masters for the CD, but I printed 96K 24-bit masters that we hope to submit to HD tracks. And that was also with the limiting, which is standard for making things nice and loud and big these days. But I also printed a pass with no limiter at all, kind of thinking ahead that maybe it'd be nice to cut some vinyl of this project too. And we brought the Rubicon over to my friend Len Horowitz with the History of Sound, and we cut a vinyl reference, and we're actually going to present that to William tomorrow. So it's pretty that part's pretty exciting too because he doesn't know it's coming. With William Close, and we're in front of the becoming quite famous Earth Harp. Brought you a vinyl copy today. It's so magical when you put the needle down. You just hear this instrument coming out of it. It's amazing.
The mastering is beautiful. Like the album sounds beautiful, and I've never heard the Earth Harp recorded and sounded so much like it actually does. I mean, the instrument there are all these like beautiful harmonics and like beautiful tones that are above the actual root notes of each string that a lot of times get lost in a recording or even just amplification. And the album really captures those.
I was already halfway through it. I knew this had something special about it, and I knew there was something about the string instruments that I couldn't put my finger on. I couldn't recognize exactly what they were coming. Was it a cello? Was it, was there some combination of violins? But I really wasn't paying too much attention because I was really just trying to capture the wholeness of the sound.
I've invented over 100 different instruments, and with each instrument I'm trying to explore something new and trying to find sounds that we've never heard before. I know there's so many acoustic sounds out there that could be instruments that we just haven't accessed yet. When I saw the image of the Rubicon, it made me think of one of my instruments. So it's so. The visual package of it really it's sort of musical, but then like beyond, you know, like sort of like music of the future. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, you know, like the element of design and the look of something in, you know, with functionality. Even on this Earth Harp right here, you know, there's a really nice thing that happens, you know, just with the tuning blocks and the bridges that creates this interesting pattern. And
you even have the ridges on top, like we do with the heat sink.
Yeah,
it's the same shape.
I know, it's similar, totally similar. You know, and there's that sort of that curved shape, that eye shape. What's nice about it is, you know, it gives the acoustical sound lots of different size spaces to resonate in, and that's what you want in a resonating chamber. You know, you really want. You know, that's why cello is like all pear-shaped, and because it gives you all these different size spaces for frequencies to amplify themselves in.
The setting here is phenomenal. This Earth Harp, the strings they shoot out of this room that we're in, outside, and go up into the mountain. And you can tell us more. I mean, they're affixed to the mountain. How?
Yeah, totally. Well, you know, the idea of the Earth Harp, the first Earth Harp I ever created, I mounted chambers to one side of the valley and ran strings 1,000 feet across to the other side. So it turned that valley into a giant harp. And went to art school at the Art Institute in Chicago, and started doing what I was doing, building instruments, trying things out. You know, I stretched the string 10 feet long, 20, 30. You know, one of the things I discovered, which was really great, is that you could put, you know, rosin on a glove or on a piece of cloth and run your hand along the string and produce what's called a compression wave. It's very similar to running your finger around the edge of a glass.
Sure.
You're actually pushing the vibration in the molecules of the material. And the way the instrument is tuned is I put tuning blocks on each string. It's like kind of like a capo on a guitar.
Right.
And like if I want a middle C, you know, like middle C on a piano, I'll take a block and put it 40 feet out and attach it to the string there. So I need like a 40-foot string for middle C, and then the C below that would be 80 feet, and the octave below that 160, and so on. How
does that go over? I mean, I know that when people watch the videos, like I said, I got goosebumps. If you haven't seen the audition for America's Got Talent, that was that's a stunning. For the first time you see yourself play that instrument, it really is an emotional thing.
Well, I think you know, there's something about the sound, you know, not only is it cool looking, but the sound.
There's a soul.
There's a soul to the sound. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So tell us about this house. Now, you said it had a story.
In 2007, I had a house here that I woke up one morning and opened the door, and the whole hillside was on fire. And came down and burned down the whole house, all the instruments I'd ever built, everything. I call it the ultimate edit, you know? It's like life had edited away all these things, and now I had to rebuild in a lot of different ways. So I rebuilt all the instruments, or most of them, in new and different ways. They're more evolved now. And then the house, it took about 4 years, but I rebuilt the house. And it's a very different looking house now. It's mostly steel and glass, and really caters to the environment and nature and whatnot. But so it really is. I mean, it's kind of, you know, it's a phoenix story, you know, like rising from the ashes and all that. And then
which is now your son's.
Yeah. So my wife Sarah had we decided to do a home birth, and she had Phoenix in the living room of the new house.
Oh wow!
So we figured, well, we got to name it Phoenix.
Wonderful. Is there a special wood?
Yeah. You know, well, all my Earth Harps, I use marine grade plywood because there's so much tension on the structure, and also so I can go as thin as possible with as much strength, you know.
So the tuning blocks are the same, sort of constant, same wood, same.
Yeah, the tuning blocks are a type of wood that I use for those, and you know, I mean, I've tried so many different woods, and definitely I find certain woods work better than others. The wire is a secret ingredient I have specially made, and it's a type of brass that brass is really warm sounding, you know, so it's the reason they do like saxophones out of brass or a lot of wind instruments, you know. Over on the wall we have the Lotus banjo.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of a fun piece. I've got one of the wing harps here, which is kind kind of like a small Earth Harp, same concept. You play it with gloves. And then the Aquatar, I call it, because a lot of the sounds are really watery. But it's a 3. I built a bunch of them. It's either 3 or 4.
Did you play any of these others on the record?
Yeah, the Aquatar got played a lot, and a lot of the drum sculptures.
And a shout out to your percussionist.
Yeah, he's great.
What is his name?
Rich Sherwood. He really is fantastic. And also Thomas York, who was one of the main producers for the album, him and his wife Laura.
So we're hanging out with Thomas and Laura, producers and writers and performers with William Close and the Earth Harp Collective. How did you come about writing and producing with him, for him?
I was introduced through a mutual friend. He came to a show at the Viper Room when I was playing, and he said he would like to have me over and jam, and I was like, all right. And I show up in this hall of music, of a rehearsal space. You know, started jamming, and instantly it turned into something that I'd never done before. We had an interesting talk when we started to talk about the album, but we had some very good jams that we wanted to make into actual songs because we liked the vibe of it. So the challenge then was to how we're going to do this.
Are there any specific songs that you felt best about on the record that people should look up first, maybe?
When you write something and when you create something, all of them are your babies, kind of thing. So it's kind of hard to pick one. And you know, the songs in there that were created specifically for the album, like what Thomas was saying, like Behind the Veil, which is one of my favorites personally, and that was just a jam.
William gave me a long jam that was like I think 45 minutes. I had one line that from the Earth Harp that I really liked, and I basically just took that out and based the whole song around it.
Yeah.
Going Home. I mean, just what a wow.
It's basically that line, that Earth Harp line, that's what started the song. So the song was that, and then a jam afterwards, that, you know, like different parts, and the parts that's similar, the parts that there are now, but
there's a lot of the original
parts, but the whole melody and lyrics I did.
It's actually a beautiful song that we played for most of the shows. It's showing off all the instruments really well. But then for the album, William was asking us, can you put vocals on this and make it a little more as a radio song?
Yeah,
and it turned out really well.
So many songs on this album that are fun. Great Superior, probably my favorite at the end.
We finished that one, we pretty much redid the whole thing.
But we had to, it was a tricky song because it came out from a jam too, and the first versions we tried just sounded a little too much like a jam, so we were like, if this has to be a strong album track, it has to be a little more like verse chorus. So we moved things around a lot and ended with this version.
You performed on the Earth Harp for Kate Middleton?
Yeah.
That's just a Cambridge audio?
More detail.
Yeah.
How was that? What was that like? Tell us about it.
It was pretty crazy. They wrote a song to be the theme of the cruise, right? And we had to adapt it to you know, to the Earth Harp, to the instrumentation we had, and it was me and Katie, this other girl, playing the Earth Harp. William couldn't go. He had another show already booked in, I think they were in Texas or something, and afterwards he was like,
and you just got up there, I can do this.
Yeah.
So had you played string instruments before?
No, not really. I don't think it has anything to do with like a violin or like to play, because a violin you play with a bow. This you play with your hands. So you put rosin in your hands and you just pull a chord. You pull it fast. You're
almost a part of the instrument.
You totally are, and you feel like there.
And she was singing at the same time.
Right, and then
some songs just microphone stand here and playing the Earth Harp.
Amazing.
Yeah, sometimes you have to sing and play the Earth Harp at the same time, and you do it and love it because it's super fun.
I think there's a depth to this project that, you know, someone who's a really deep listener, there's a lot there for them.
And by the way, there were a whole lot of Antelope pieces used on the project. I think there were 5 things running.
Yeah,
the Rubicon played a major role because it was the capture device. But the playback device was our new Orion, which is getting, I mean, it's actually a 32 channel converter, but it plays so musically that it was the perfect playback converter because it has a very, people have said it has a soul. So it kind of has this sound that just sounds very musical. So then it was very minimal EQing with a couple Soundtech EQs back to back and into the Rubicon for digital limiting. On the vinyl pressing we had no limiter. We did some high-res stuff for you at 9624. And we did 9624 without the limiter, and then we cut the vinyl.
I would say no matter where we've been, in China, it was a great audience. It was 10,000 people in a giant theater. But no matter where we go, we have amazing response. And just people get silent, and it just wow.
Yeah. I remember when I saw it the first time too. When I saw I went to see Thomas play and with them, and I was like, that is so weird. It's something that you never seen before.
Right.
It doesn't matter what country, what audience, what age. Everyone is just like, what is this?
When I got out of art school and was kind of building these instruments and trying to find something to do with them, I found that I could go into the schools and teach kids to create their own instruments, come up with wild string instruments and percussive stuff. That then dovetailed into, I do a lot of lecturing and a lot of lecture demonstrations with the Earth Harp. And then yes, I mean, I have a team of performers, and I've taught a number of performers how to play it. There is an element of, passing it on, and my wife Sarah plays it with me, and so yeah, it's definitely part of the vision, without a doubt.
Whenever you can actually put the clocking technology directly on the circuit that the converter is on, it just integrates that timing reference so much better. And for those that don't know about the importance of stable clocking, it can make all the difference in the world for digital audio. And in fact, for the last few years, all the major film soundtracks have all been scored with Antelope clocking. So having it on the converter is a very cool thing. It's a very special thing, and it's a very special sound. And this is a special artist, so it's really nice that he was the first one. Thomas, Laura, I hope to hear from you guys again soon. Can't wait to hear what else you guys come up with, and thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Well, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for the performance. That was a great way to set the tone. And
yeah, my pleasure.
A private 7-minute performance.
Yeah.
The master of the Earth Harp, William Close.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, Marcel. Good to meet you.
Thanks.